why ketogenic diets are the most successful diets out there. So the keto diet is when you completely avoid carbohydrates. Okay, so carbohydrates are carbs for short. Carbohydrates are things like pasta, pastries, cookies, anything that is really junk related, because junk related foods are mostly carbohydrate sources. So you want to avoid rices, potatoes, starchy things to that nature, anything that has carbs. So the best way to understand what type of food you are eating, right? Whether it's fats, proteins, or carbs, right? You are going to want to read the label on the back. It has the nutritional label. Okay, this is the most important thing when it comes to dieting, especially when utilizing the ketogenic diet, because when using the keto diet, you are completely avoiding carbs, and if you get any type of carb in, then you're going to ruin the process. So by reading the labels, you can ensure that you're going about it the proper way. So by understanding the nutritional label, you can dictate your actions in the right manner when it comes to losing weight by utilizing the ketogenic diet. So basically, this is a basic concept of nutrition, understanding nutrition, the fundamentals of nutrition. You should understand the the simplest form of nutrition, which are what are macros: protein, fats, and carbs. Okay, so the ketogenic diet focuses on high fats, moderate proteins, and very low carbs. Okay, essentially and practically no carb intake. Okay, so when you deplete yourself from carbohydrates, your body will start producing ketones, and as a result, right, your body will burn its own fat as fuel, resulting in fat loss throughout the day. So when your body has entered this ketogenic um, process, okay, so it takes some time in order to reach this ketogenic process. So once you start avoiding carbohydrates, it takes about a couple hours to maybe a day or two in order to enter ketosis. Okay, so when your body has transitioned into ketosis, it'll start producing ketones, which ultimately will burn fat throughout the day. And this is why keto diets are very effective for fat loss, because it is utilizing your own fats as fuel, resulting in fat loss throughout the day. Because you have no carbohydrates, and carbohydrates are the number one source of fuel and energy. So when you have no carbohydrates within your system, your body has to retrieve energy from somewhere. It has to retrieve fuel from somewhere, right? And your fat has a lot of good nutrients, and essentially it's a very good powerhouse for your body to operate on. So it's going to utilize its own fat as fuel. And if you could just imagine, your body will burn through all that, okay? But if you had carbs in your system, it will utilize your carbs first, then your fat, and then your muscles, and so forth, right? So that is that. And here's the other most important part when it comes to ketogenic diet. This is probably the number one thing that everyone doesn't realize when they're utilizing the ketogenic diet, because they never understood what was causing them to become overweight in the first place. Okay, so in the first place, the reason why you're overweight is because bad eating habits, poor nutrition, poor diet, poor regimen, and just lack of understanding, or the lack of knowledge, essentially, right? So when you utilize the ketogenic diet, what is happening? As I mentioned, you are restricting and avoiding carbs. So when people are overweight, okay, the main issue for overweight people are processed foods, carbohydrates, carbs. I'm not saying carbs are the enemy, but when people are overweight and obese, it's mostly due to the excessive intake of carbohydrates, especially the sugary, sweet, savory carbohydrate sources, okay? The junk food, the fries, the sodas, the pastries, the cookies, the chips, and so forth and so on. I could keep on going on and on and on and on and on. If you ever notice, carbohydrate sources or carbohydrate foods are manipulative, okay? So what I'm trying to say is that when you're eating carbs, especially processed and junk related carbs, you could keep on going and going and going and going and going and going. Like for instance, when you're eating bags of chips or bags of cookies or whatever the case might be, that is carb related, right? You notice that you cannot stop. It's like you could keep on going on forever until you start getting sick from eating all these foods. Whereas if you were to eat a whole lot of protein or a whole lot of fat, you would become full fast and you would become fulfilled. It's like hard to overeat when you're eating protein and fats, right? And that's actually true. Protein is a little bit more, or a whole lot more satiating than carbs and fats, right? And when you have more of a protein intake, your body has to break down the proteins much harder than carbs and fats. So when your body's breaking down these nutrients, it's going to burn fat, okay? And throughout the day, when you have a high protein intake, a low carb intake, you're a fat burning machine. So you're going to be burning fat entirely throughout the day when utilizing a ketogenic diet. So let's recap. People are overweight and obese because they have eating habits, they have a poor nutrition, lifestyle, and overall just a poor regimen in life, okay? By utilizing the ketogenic diet, you are avoiding all the harmful foods, you're avoiding all the processed foods, and you're avoiding all the unhealthy carb-related junk foods, okay? And when you're on the ketogenic diet, it enforces you to eat healthier. It puts you on track to strive for better nutrition, okay, to become properly nourished, okay? So this is the most important thing, is to really change your mindset and start striving for healthier foods. That's what the ketogenic diet does, kind of. Depends on how you approach it, right? But yeah, people, ketogenic diet essentially removes all the junk and processed foods from your life, resulting in weight loss due to avoiding the foods that made you overweight in the first place. So yeah, I mean, if you think about it, is the ketogenic diet the solution for everything? No. The solution is fixing your eating habits, fixing your nutrition protocol, and fixing your overall life. And other factors, your habits, your hygiene, your understanding of food, of nutrition, and life in general. You know, you need to have a good mindset when it comes to this aspect, because if you're trying to look good and feel better and become healthier, you need to have that mindset in place. And if you don't have that mindset in place, then you don't have that perspective, nor you're not going to be on that path to continue on, to proceed with greatness, to pursue with the results that you are wanting. You know, people who are overweight and just put it to the side and never exercise nor learn about nutrition or anything like that, they end up going in cycles and cycles and cycles and cycles, and they blame everything else but themselves. And ultimately, it is your own actions that dictates your consequences or your results. So if you're eating a lot, expect to gain a whole lot of weight. If you're starving yourself, expect to become skinny. You know what I mean? Thanks for watching.